Hey, Brianna, Nehemiah, Ruby, since this is your very last podcast, do you want to sing the theme song with me?
Podcast, Cristo Rey podcast, Cristo Rey podcast, right in your ears. Podcast, Cristo Rey podcast, Cristo Rey podcast. Oh boy, here it comes.
Hey y'all, welcome back. You're here for the last time with Brianna, Ruby,
Hey everyone.
and Nehemiah.
Hey.
You're also joined with your regular host, Ava.
Hey.
Jaleel.
Hey guys.
Rebecca.
Hey.
And Alonga.
Hi guys.
And now we also have some special returning guest, Mr. Corrigan,
Hello, hello, hello.
Nurse Ross,
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back.
and Mr. Diable.
Hello! Good to be back.
Yeah, so we found a way to drag Mr. Dybel back to the podcast one last time. If you're a regular listener, you might remember Mr. Dybel and we had sort of a falling out, right, for a while. But we made peace at Christmas. Mr. Dybel's finally back on the side of goodness and light. There was something about moving back to New York that drew him briefly to the dark side. I wonder, why is that?
Well, Mr. Corrigan, they do call it the Empire State.
Oh, you know why they call it the Empire State? That's actually a very interesting story. There's a lot of dispute over that.
Sure, yeah, the namesake. Actually, you know what? I don't think anybody wants to hear us talk about that.
That is possibly, they're shaking it. You can't see them, but they're shaking their heads, which wounds me. That's all right.
All right, our regular host will actually be interviewing us for this episode, so it's going to be a really special one. So guys, go ahead and ask your questions.
Well, first I want to thank you guys for being, the singers that you guys have been. I think you guys have been really good role models, and overall, I think you guys have been played a tremendous role in my experience. And I got to see you guys do everything first. You guys were kind of like the guinea pigs. So yes, I want to thank you guys for that. But my first question I want to do is ask is, what skills will you be taking from Cristo Rey on your journey for the rest of your your college life and your life going on?
So I feel like in general, Cristo Rey has taught me a lot in my personal experience. Everyone has different experiences and we get taught a lot of different things. But for me, it taught me honestly how to be a more disciplined person. I feel like coming into the school, at first it can be very intimidating because the workload is very different from middle school, obviously. And it's a college prep school, so it is a different rhythm, and we do get more of a homework workload and a lot of other stuff. So for me, it just helped me just to challenge myself, because I know in general in life, we're going to be challenged, college and other aspects. So it taught us early on how to handle those situations. And, it's just a skill that we're going to end up having to have one way or the other, how to be a disciplined person and manage your time. So for me, it really taught me that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was very wisely worded. You talked about time management and things like that. Do you feel like Cristo Rey has set you up for financial success?
I feel like in Mr. Dybel's course, we did learn how to, it was government and economics. So in his course, we did learn how to finance more. I feel in general that isn't really taught in high schools, like how to finance and stuff. But regardless, I feel like there are certain resources out there like online that will teach us, and we'll find out how to figure out stuff along the way. But in Mr. Dybel's finance class, we did learn, the basics of taxes and whatnot. So to a certain degree, yeah.
Like moving on to this next stage of your life, like you've probably been hearing about this like your whole life. So how does everybody feel? Like what's the emotional side and aspect of everything for you guys?
I feel like I'm just at the point where I'm ready. I don't know. Like I like hearing mixed emotions from different friends about really about to graduate. And for me, it's like, yeah, graduate to just go to school for another 4 years. And then after that, another 3. So not to be the pessimist of the group, because I'm definitely going to enjoy my time in college because I'm going to college in LA. So there's a lot there that's set up for me to do well and be excited for. But I mean, honestly, I feel like it's just another one of those crossroads that you have to go through. Because for me and my family, it was never high school was this big barrier. So it was kind of what was just expected. So for me, it's like, okay, it's just another one of those check marks in like a game or another level passed in life. But I'm definitely excited to just move on, find better things, just go to explore who I am as a person, as a friend, as a family, just honestly just keep evolving for what the world has for me.
Congratulations, Cristo Rey class of 2021. This is Mr. Patrick, and on behalf of all the faculty, staff, and our board, we wish you all a blessed journey as you embark on this next chapter of your lives. Know that your Cristo Rey family will always be here for you.
Hello, seniors. This is Mrs. Miller, wishing you congratulations on graduating. We're so proud of you, and we can't wait to see what you do next. Good luck.
Mr. Dybel, Nurse Ross, and Mr. Corrigan, how do you guys feel like watching them like grow and like they're officially like graduating?
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was whether you think you're ready for a big life stage or you don't think you're ready, you are, because that stage is going to come whether or not you want it to, right? There's no way to prolong the inevitable. There's no way to sort of put it off any further. And you just kind of have to trust that that the people around you have prepared you well enough that you, possess the motivation and the dedication and the skills necessary to face each challenge. And does that mean you're going to, ace every test or turn in every homework? Certainly for Nehemiah, that wasn't the case. But, there will be bumps along the road, but you'll face them and you'll power through, and we'll all be there behind you.
Nicely worded. Nicely worded.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I kind of agree with everybody and everything that they've been saying this entire time. For me, it's almost bittersweet. Like all of the things that I kind of went throughout the years now seem a blur. Like I can't remember half the things I did. I just remember like the emotional turmoil from it all. So being able to say goodbye to all of that is something, but then also thinking after this, you kind of have to start your life. And after 18 years old, you're kind of expected to do all the things an adult would do. Your hours at work go up, everything goes up. So just thinking about that and having to start a life, it's a lot. But just knowing that I'm moving somewhere and I'm not staying stagnant, I think that helps me to continue moving on and feel better about where I'm going in life. So yeah.
I agree with Brianna. I just feel like, in general, I agree with both Nehemiah and Brianna, but I do feel the nerves of, having all this time, obviously for 18 years, we've been, school, home, and whatnot. And I feel like that rhythm is going to, obviously you develop and you change and you evolve. So it is a little scary to, get out of your norm. So I feel like that is a little frightening sometimes because you do know that more responsibilities are going to start coming your way. I think it's exciting enough, but it is scary. But I mean, like Mr. Dybel said, you kind of have to trust it, in a way, to a certain extent, we kind of have to force ourselves to trust the process and just take it day by day and, just hope for the best, because, at the end of the day, we can only hope. That what keeps us going in general as a human race. We just have to trust in the process and trust that you're going the right path. And if you fail, that's just a part of life. We just kind of have to learn that that's inevitable in anyone's life. We just have to learn how to deal with those situations and pick ourselves back up.
This is Nurse Ross. As I was listening to you guys talk, I think it's really sweet for me to watch the three of you, just not just in how much your class in general has been through, what you guys have been through in the last year. I mean, that part of it is all, I think, really big for me and not lost on me, thinking about COVID especially. But just in general, it's really sweet for me to watch you guys at the age that you're at 18 years old, because it reminds me of, the same time in my life when I was 18, and I knew, for a very long time that education was sort of my way to get where I wanted to be. I wanted to have a job and have financial independence and have a family and, have children someday, and had all of these things that I wanted to do. And I always knew that education was what I needed to make those things happen. And it's really cool for me to see you guys feeling, I guess, you have the nerves that we would expect you to have, but I look at you and I think you're all so well prepared to take that next step in life. And so it's just cool to see people your age who understand the impact that education has on the next step of your life. And I mean, I think you're all going to do really great things. So it's just kind of like watching you is really cool, but then just a really sweet reminder of like it's such a crazy time in life to be 18 years old and to be graduating from high school and moving on to that next step. It's a big thing. It really is. It sets up really and truly the rest of your life. I think it did for me. So I know you guys will do great things. So it's just really cool to sit in here with you guys and kind of be talking about not just the last year, but like everything that you guys have been through.
Hello, seniors. This is a congratulations from your English department. This is Mrs. Matt speaking to just let you know how much we all have enjoyed being with you over the last 4 years. You are amazing, and we wish you the best of everything in your futures.
Hey, seniors, this is Mr. Dobler on behalf of the math department. We just wanted to say that we are so proud of you and wish you well and hope that your equations may always be solvable and your functions may always be continuous. Best luck for the future. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, being a teacher in a school and students come through the program. And for you, it must seem like it was very, very slow. And then it suddenly got really, really fast. Sort of those last couple of weeks, that seems to be the general feeling where, oh, when can I get out of here? When can I get out of here? And then suddenly, here it is. And you can never be fully conscious, as Ms. Nurse Ross was saying, we kind of think back when we were 18, like fully conscious of how much you change in those 4 years is really, really powerful thing to witness, because we're walking with you temporarily these years in your life, right? And, it's really, watching you guys grow so quickly into grown people, ready to go out into the world and start solving a lot of the problems that we maybe didn't do a good job at solving earlier. It's your turn, right? Of course, we have Nurse Ross and Mr. Dybel here, purposely because you guys originated the podcast a little over a year ago, and I thought it would give you some perspective. I'm actually going to play you a little clip from the very first podcast, okay, to see, just to kind of move the conversation and think, hey, have you changed? Are you the same person? It's sort of a little time capsule, right, of just a year ago. So I'm going to share just this little first 45 seconds or so.
Oh boy, here it comes.
Yeah, we're going to get started here with the first Cristo Rey Columbus High School podcast update, virtual learning 2020. I, of course, am Mr. Dybel, the government teacher at school. And we've got a few students, some professionals. We got a whole group here to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news and some advice for all you cougars out there and how to stay safe during this time. So why don't we just go around and introduce ourselves?
It's Nurse Ross. This is Nehemiah. I'm a junior. I'm a representative on student council. And a fun fact, this will be my 3rd year on student council.
Well, hello, I am Ruby. I'm a council representative, a junior, and I like painting.
I'm a junior representative, and I used to play the violin for 5 years.
So we all have, I'm sure, been hearing a lot in the news about...
Are you the same people?
No. I sound like Nehemiah just hit puberty. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, no. I think during that time, I thought the podcast wasn't really going to be something that lasted, because once Mr. Dybel left, I was like, oh, who's going to take care of it and nurture it? Also, at that time, I was representative, but now I'm student council president, so I guess that's something different, which meant leadership. My opponent is here, that's why. My old opponent. But yeah, it shows that leadership was a big part of it, and I actually got to control a lot of different things. And I feel like that kind of made me stronger, and my answers to questions are probably better now. And just the people who've heard it will come up to me and say how it's impacted them, or I'll get critiques about it, and I'm learning from that as well. So I think I have changed a good amount.
There was just impeccable editing on that first one. I clearly had all of these resources. I remember editing that in the closet at my mother's house because I needed silence and my brother's dog was there. It was a whole ordeal, but it's you think about those kind of disruptions to your daily routine, but also to projects and things you were working on that came with the pandemic. But as Nurse Ross and I were talking about before, makes you more resilient and tougher to face some of these challenges. But certainly you guys can listen to that and realize just how much effort and time and energy Mr. Corrigan has put into this. I know you guys have really picked up the mantle and ran with it, but just knowing how much he puts in day in, day out for, to make these episodes so much better and so much more rigorous and meaningful for all of you. He deserves a big thank you, I think. And this is coming from me, someone who does not like to compliment him ever. So, take that as you will.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to edit that part out for the sake of my ever-growing ego. So, but it wouldn't have been possible without Mr. Dybel's, brain. I don't think I'd ever listened to a podcast actually before, because he's much more hip than I am, and a testament to the students. And yeah, you kept it going, and then the new hosts, of course, hopefully keeping it going into the future as a thing that can really kind of speak for the student body. We hope that's the thing. It's not better, it's just different. It's changed. That's sort of what is sort of shocking to me, how quickly things change, right? Not better necessarily, just different.
Seniors, your advancement team wants to send our congratulations on your graduation and best wishes for your next adventure. Ms. Wright, Mr. Lenz, and me, Mrs. Silva, are so proud of you. Take with you the lessons you learned within the walls of Cristo Rey. Be confident in yourself. Live a life of purpose and always be brave. And remember the value of a firm handshake, a handwritten note, and your warm smile. Viva Cristo Rey.
Yeah, I feel like change in general in every aspect, even in a podcast, it's crazy how much change, life really brings at you. Back to the question about if I think I've changed from there, yes. I feel like I didn't have as much confidence as I do now. And maybe that could be because of the pandemic in a way. Maybe it made us, really reflect more about how we are and our way of being. I feel like when I heard back on the first episode, I didn't sound as confident in myself and in how I responded. And that I wasn't sure of my knowledge or if I was smart enough. And now due to a pandemic, we have had to deal with so much stuff. And me and Brianna, and Nehemiah, we were on student council, and we had to do so much in a short amount of period of time. And it was just thrown at us as the pandemic, it was just thrown at us. And we weren't even we weren't so oblivious on what was coming our way. And it just kind of made us reflect. And now that I look back, I can see that it's changed me to be more stronger in how I voice myself and I, express myself. I feel like we're just in general more stronger people and more confident in ourselves. I mean, eventually, yeah, this pandemic sucked, but I feel like it also brought a lot of good out of it too.
Ruby, I think what you were saying as you were talking, I was thinking, Mr. Dybel and I were talking about how, and I think this came up quite a bit, in the springtime, that many of us were feeling a lot of, I guess, gratitude for being able to be home and feeling safe when kind of the world was crashing down around us, it felt like. And I think I was listening to a podcast actually a couple days ago, and Ruby, while you were talking, I was thinking about this podcast because Mr. Dybel and I also mentioned resilience earlier in our conversation. And as you were talking, I think about the word resilience and what it means. And I listened to a podcast a couple days ago, and the person that was talking, he was a psychiatrist, and he was saying that resilience, that there's a difference between resilience and malleability, and that that he hears all the time that children and teenagers are so resilient. Oh, they're so resilient. Like, they can get through anything. And he said that he was like, but there's a difference between resilience and malleability. And resilience is your ability to experience trauma. And I would argue that COVID has been, traumatic in some ways for the world and for a lot of people personally. And it's your ability to experience that trauma and then get back to baseline. So be at your baseline, experience that trauma, and then get back to baseline. And that many children are not necessarily resilient, but malleable. And that, basically the analogy he gave was like a hanger. So when you think about a hanger and you hang something that's too heavy for it on the hanger bends. And so it can still hang clothes, but it hangs them a little differently and the hanger looks differently, but it still functions, right? And so I think there's so many of us who maybe have, what I like to think is that so many of you have experienced and kind of your resilience has increased during this time, and that you've experienced, COVID and all of the things that come along with it and how it changed high school and how it changed everything for so many of you guys. But that you've experienced that and you've gotten back to your baseline or that you're close. But I think for a lot of us and for a lot of people, they've maybe more experienced that malleability. But I thought that it was poignant in light of like everything happening with COVID and when you're talking about change and how things have changed so much and how the last year has impacted us. I really thought about that podcast, and I hope for most of you that you have experienced the last year and gotten back to baseline or close to it. But yeah, I think that was really good insight and kind of jogged my thinking about that. That was a lot, sorry.
Hi seniors, this is Dr. Crow, the chemistry teacher. On behalf of the science department, congratulations on the 4 years, well done. Good luck on your future endeavors.
Hi amazing seniors, Ms. Lima's here on behalf of the social studies department. We are so proud of you for all that you've accomplished, and we congratulate you on this amazing accomplishment of your graduation. We are excited to see what the future holds for you. On a personal note, you all know that you're my very first class at Cristo Rey, and it has been a pleasure to watch you grow over the past 4 years. You are amazing human beings. I know that there are so many opportunities out there for you, and I love you all. We love you all. Congratulations.
I wanted to ask Brianna and Nehemiah, because I think you guys all mentioned like when you guys were 18 and like the changes that we made as far as like just like, in general. I think that the world has become way more inclusive to everybody than you mentioned like the year of like COVID and everything, but I think we also need to bring up like the big political aspect of everything, like, with the death of George Floyd and like everything that's unraveling now. So with Nehemiah and Brianna both being, Black woman, Black man, I want to know how you guys plan on like, going through the trials and tribulations of just being, considered an adult now, in America, as you guys are. And overall, how do you think Cristo Rey could have better, helped you or better served you, because I feel like it's always room for improvement, no matter how inclusive we become. And I thought you guys should just, talk on that, speak on that.
Yeah, Ruby, I feel like you could also like add some like perspective as like another person of color, even though you're not like African American. Like there are still things happening that like affect you too, and you are looked at differently because you're a person of color. So all of you guys, please feel free to put like your input on like what you guys think about what he said.
I think for me, it's definitely been about over the last 4 years, because you grow up Black, you know you're Black, you make all the jokes about being Black, but it doesn't hit you about what being Black truly means until you've really grown up, until you've reached that point where you feel like your innocence has been taken away because you're no longer looked at like, okay, I'm Black, like that doesn't really mean much until you really learn that. You kind of learn to cater to what Black society is amongst America, which doesn't necessarily treat that as the value of what it should be, I think what kind of hit me lately, which I think has an impact on me being 18, me finally being like, okay, I'm of a legal age, is knowing that someone was 16 and was shot, you know? So in my eyes, it was like, that was a little girl. That was someone's daughter. That was some young soul who never got to experience what life was supposed to be about, you know? So I know it's easier to be like, okay, back on the glory days, something like that. Like, I'm only 18, but I also feel like I've experienced so much that it's like, I have the experience, I have the advice, I have the tools in my toolbox to be able to educate and to help advise the next generation. So for me, I've kind of like broadened my group of people that I know, like on a day-to-day basis, I've engaged with, just like, hey, like, how are you doing? You know, for me, one of the big pushes for me is even like fixing some of the issues within our own Black community. You know, it's very easy to point fingers to elsewhere, but like, how can I say the actions I'm taking are doing well in my own community? Like, I'm really big about pushing mental awareness on others, pushing Black parents to understand that just because your children aren't going through the same issues you are, doesn't mean that their internal battles are any less valuable. You know, as a Black child, you're taught to stay in a child's place or you grow up. So it's kind of teeter-tottering that fine line about, do you want me to grow up or do you want me to act your age, you know? And it's funny because I remember talking to Ms. Graham about how that type of mindset kind of structures someone to never really truly know their place in the world. You know, you go into certain sections, like all of us have professional jobs where you're expected to be bigger than your actual age may display, you know, your maturity level. But then the minute you go home and you try to engage in something like that, your mom was like, hey, I'm not one of your little friends. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's a big key contribute to me. Also, just surrounding myself with very much politically activist minded people, because that's the role that I want to serve in this world. You know, like, I want to be an attorney, I want to be a lawyer, I want to shape the world to be better for the world that I see it as. So I'm definitely surrounding myself with like-minded people, also people who, even though they're like-minded, can still push me to see a different perspective. You know, if you surround yourself by just people who think exactly like you, then you'll never be able to push the boundaries of what change can look like. I've definitely been able to kind of take a deeper breath behind what I thought I knew to really understand what is the truth about what's really going on.
Nice. You truly are as strong as your friends are. That was awesome work. Awesome.
This is Mr. Lofficerla Hamp from the Theology Department. Seniors, congratulations. 4 years is done. On to new adventures.
Hey, it's Mrs. Saliba here. As you go into the world, we just hope you'll love and serve others as well as you have done for each other and your community here. Don't forget to feed your soul and pursue wholeness as much as your success, guys. We are praying for you as you go forth. God bless you, class of 2021.
One part of what Nehemiah was saying that I totally agree about was just realizing that this isn't something that's going to happen to older people. It's not something that just occurs when you're turning 18 and you're just like, okay, now I'm in the world and something could potentially happen to me. No, it's happening to young girls and boys. It's not like a gender thing. It's happening to old and young, and it's all because we're Black. So when you think about it that way, it's like, what can I do to help not only keep myself alive, but the other people in my family alive? So it's what you're going to do in the future. That's kind of what I decided. Whatever I would do in the future would help contribute to trying to stop what's going on today. So like, I want to become a cardiac surgeon. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's only 6 Black African-American women in the United States who are cardiac surgeons. And it's not only because we're like not interested, or it's not because we don't want to do it, but a lot of the opportunity isn't being given. So in actively trying to go into a role like that with my own likeness to the subject, I feel like I'm doing something for my community. I'm trying to keep more people in my community alive who are dying because they're being misdiagnosed by other doctors in the facility who believe that our skin is tougher than the average white person or the average person of a different ethnicity. That to me is not okay. And that's one way I'm helping my community. So I feel like if everybody were to do something that within their career or just in their daily lives, just trying to educate other people, that's something we could do. So I just try to incorporate that. And I feel like with Cristo Rey in general, you know, we're kind of in this capsule. You don't really see what's in the outside world because you're stuck inside school all day. So I know it's the thing to just kind of like hide it or kind of just make sure that they're in this bubble where they don't see what's going on outside of the world. But I think that's something we should actually unveil to people, that it is happening and that in being Black, you're susceptible to being targeted, you know? And I think hiding that kind of just, you're kind of setting other people up for that. So in order to really just show hey, this is what's going on in the world, and to educate other people and make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe, because lives aren't something to play with, in my opinion. I feel like we throw that word around so easily. You saved my life, this life, but it's, you come into this world. That's the purpose. You just live. That's it. And then taking that away, what else do you have? What do we have? So I think in prioritizing that and just looking at that aspect, and then also incorporating that into the life that you're serving, we can actually come to see a difference in what's going on in today's world. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. I wanted to make sure I did ask you and Nehemiah, because I know that you guys are both two Black people. I didn't want to leave you out, but Black struggles and people of color struggles are different. You know, we shouldn't just, and marginalized people, they're different struggles. We shouldn't just categorize them as one, because that's kind of insensitive to you, Ruby, and you, Nehemiah. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And, in general, Black, immigrants, I come, like my whole family, I come from a line, we're all in this country, we're considered immigrants, right? I am actually an immigrant. So, we all face our own struggles in a way. And I feel like picking back from like what Brianna and Nehemiah said, I think that's just the whole point of purpose in a way. Like I want to go into the nursing field, right? And in general, like we're gonna have to, in a way balance how we live this life and like what we want to leave behind. And it starts honestly by like, what do you want to do? And like, for example, I want to be a nurse, and the healthcare system needs work in many aspects. So that just comes to, like, at the end of the day, that shows me like if I want change, I'm going to go into the system in this field and try like to use my experience and like the struggles that I face and see how we can shift that system. Like that's why there's like advocates for like climate change and stuff. So just advocacy in general is just very important, right? And different, if you want to make a change in this world, advocacy, because that's honestly what we can do. And, we can do that in the fields that we choose to take on in life, could be law, could be healthcare, in any field, and just advocate for, policies that affect, certain types of people, different groups, the marginalized and stuff. So I just think advocacy, finding purpose in the work that we do, if we want to help people, also remind yourself, in the different ways that you can help them out. Like, for example, like Black people, like African Americans in healthcare, they are affected so much. And I've seen the statistics and it's crazy. So I admire like Brianna because she wants to go into healthcare. And I know that, it starts by one person, creating that change. At the end of the day, there's going to be that one person that, if you want something to change, it has to start with one, so if she wants to advocate for that, then, awesome for her. And she's going to create, start the word out, and hopefully it gets better. It's a challenge. This world is difficult in general, and it's a challenge, but it's not a failure. There's nothing that we can't reach. So, just have hope for this world at the end.
Definitely. In the words of the great Michael Jackson, starting with the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
So.
Hey seniors, Miss Devering here from admissions. I can't believe it. You guys are getting ready to graduate. It's crazy. I literally remember so many of you from back in 8th grade when we came into your schools and talked to you about Cristo Rey, those admissions interviews that you did when you were applying, and here we are talking about graduation. It has truly been my pleasure to get to know you guys and just to watch you grow and mature from those little 8th graders that you were into the amazing group of young men and women that you are today. Your leadership throughout these past few years has really made an impact on future Cristo Rey Cougars for years to come, and for that, we're so very grateful. As you prepare for graduation, we wish you guys all the best. Please don't forget to come back and visit us. We will miss you. Congratulations class of 2021.
Well, I just want to say that I'm so proud of the seniors. Like, I didn't know a lot of seniors. Like, I kind of knew the class before you guys because of my sister, but I didn't know a lot of you. But Nehemiah, Brianna, Ruby, I knew you guys because of student council. And, like, I always looked up to you guys because you guys, the way you guys carry yourselves, you guys just seem so smart. And, like, you guys are just confident. And it just inspires me because I'm not as confident. And I remember especially because last year they were doing auditions for the podcast, and I was like, the podcast seems fun, and I knew that you guys are part of it, and I was so scared because in the audition it was just basically a Zoom call with Corrigan and the three of you. And at first it was so awkward because like I knew you guys but we weren't as close, and it was just so scary because I knew you guys were so smart and I just didn't want to sound dumb in front of you guys. I don't know if you could tell, I was just so scared. And I was just like, okay, just sound smart and they'll put you in. And I was just like, so it was just so fun. And now like that we've expanded the group, because I think I was like one of the first people to join after the three of you. And it was just so fun. Like the beginning, it was kind of awkward at first because, you know, we were still in the pandemic, but now we've like grown a lot. And I'm very proud of the podcast now and what Corrigan has done. And I mean, I wasn't able to be part of like Dible and when Miss Nurse Ross was here, but I'm glad that you guys started it and you guys like carried it till now because it's really fun and I'm really glad that I joined and will be continuing to carry the podcast.
I just want to say I'm so proud of the seniors. Ever since I was a freshman, I could watch you guys and it's just so amazing and sad at the same time seeing you guys leave. One thing I can say that I look up to a lot of seniors, and a lot of them inspire me every day. Nehemiah, of course, and Brianna and Ruby. I see what you guys do, amazing things, especially in the podcast. I don't think I would have joined the podcast if I didn't hear that you guys were in the podcast. I heard like you guys saying amazing things. I was like, maybe I could do it too because, you know, they're doing it as well. So it's just amazing to, be able to work with you guys and be in the podcast and just have fun. And well, I'll say I'll miss you guys.
I feel like this is really sad because it's like that reality check that we are living. It's crazy how life can go in the blink of an eye. I can remember my first day of freshman year and I was like, 2021 is so far away. Nah. Like I was over here complaining because I was like, that's like in 4 years. That's gonna take so long. Like to me, it's crazy how life can just like go by fast, yet so slow at the same time. And it just goes to show that we really need to value our time here and, because, our high school days are, our childhood in a way, it's like almost over and we're going to start stepping into like adulthood. And it's crazy to say, but it's true. Like I see Rebecca and all you guys and I was like, I remember like, looking up to last year's seniors, like I can't wait till I'm a senior and say goodbye to this place. But now that it's here, it's like, you know what, you can like slow down. It's just crazy how life goes, but honestly live in the moment and appreciate the time that you have in these different stages of life because it goes by fast. So
Ruby, wait till you're in your mid-30s, then you'll
no.
then you'll really feel like time goes by fast.
Hello, this is Mrs. Vallejo. Dear seniors, on behalf of the Spanish department, we would like to wish you buena suerte y que Dios los bendiga siempre.
This is the Work Study Department here with a message for the senior class.
Congratulations, seniors!
Yeah, I was just about to say I agree with Ruby too, because it is like in a blink of an eye. I feel like last week they were saying we have one more month and one more month went by in like, I feel like in my head, 3 days. It was not a month. And then I'm like, so am I gonna be homeless in a sense? Because I'm not going to like be in school anymore. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in a whole nother state. And just that transition is strange in itself, because with your whole lives, you just spent it with your parents and people within the same community, especially with Cristo Rey being so unique, because there's only like 500 students, and we all pretty much know each other. You see each other in the halls all the time. And then you're going to go to a place where it's like 1,000 to several thousand students and all of these people that you don't know. So you're just thinking of making friends again. And I was like, Ruby, I can't remember the first day of school, but I can remember that orientation, which is really funny. And getting to meet the first people and thinking, who am I friends with now? And just thinking, will these friendships still last? That's probably like the one scary part to me, because college is going to be, well, from what I've heard, very busy. And you're going to wish you were still in high school, apparently. But I think that as long as I am willing enough to keep these friendships, because I feel like they kind of molded me into who I am, and I don't want to let go of that, I'll be okay. And so will you guys when you go to senior year. I feel like you guys are all really strong. And senior year may seem like it's just this idea, or you're just growing up into another age, but mentally you're changing and you won't even know it. You're already growing into your adult self. And I know your birthdays are coming up, so you'll be hitting 18, maybe getting your driver's license. I still don't have mine. We won't talk about that. But I think you'll be able to see what it's really like to kind of, in a sense, feel what we're feeling and experience what it's going to be like when you're leaving your home, that being your school right now. But yeah, it's scary.
I thought of two things as this is Mr. Dybel. The two things as you guys were talking. First, I there's that old adage that they never tell you you're in the good old days when you're in the good old days, right? You never have an understanding when you're in that moment that you're gonna wish that you could go back to those moments, and even from my perspective as someone who taught at Cristo Rey, the amount of times this year I've thought, man, I really wish I was out on that track, cheering you guys along as you went around in circles a bunch of times, or as I saw some things about AP exams and thinking about all those Jeopardy sessions and stressful study sessions. You miss that, and nobody's there in that moment to tell you that you will. So that can be tough looking back, but it's also important to look back on all those opportunities that you had and how many people were part of kind of where you ended up. And to a lot of your points about some of the anxieties around next steps and where you're headed in the future. And I really appreciate all of you guys sharing, how your individual backgrounds are going to shape that. James Baldwin said that the biggest kind of hurdle or the biggest enemy of justice is ignorance, right? That ignorance is the one thing that really undermines any attempt to establish any sort of just system. And as I'm hearing all of you talk and your impressive self-awareness and your wealth of knowledge, I don't think we're going to have that problem. I do not sense a great deal of ignorance in this group. And I think that's incredibly important. And as you move forward, remember that. Think about how much effort you put into educating yourselves and asking important questions and looking to the people around you who could help you understand things better. That sort of approach to life is really valuable. And there are a lot of people who do not do that. There are a lot of people who think, I have all the answers. This is the way things are going to be. And that is a very unrewarding way to go through life. But to maintain that openness and willingness to see things from another person's perspective, and to recognize that the world does not begin and end with you at all times, right? That you need to find a way to apply what you've learned and continue to stay open-minded and willing to engage with your community and with the people you care about to advance the things you care about. And I think I sense that all being sort of what you guys are setting out to do. And it makes me very pleased as someone who's personally invested in your success. But it also, makes me hopeful for the future. We're in some pretty trying times these days. And sometimes I wonder if we could just hand things over to your generation now, we might be a little better off. So I think, it's great to hear all of this. I know you guys, seniors, are probably feeling a little sentimental now, but I also encourage you to take this time to really think about, like, for some of your classmates, this could be one of the last times you're all together in the same place, and enjoy that. And that can, there's a joy factor that don't let the, anxieties and the sadness overwhelm you in that regard. Do fun things like pranking Mr. Corrigan or something. I can say that now because I don't work for Cristo Rey. So, make sure you do something like that. But
and Mr. Corrigan, I've always been nice to you.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Ruby would.
I know the
wouldn't.
editors.
We'll give them some money on the side to edit that out.
I don't say that either.
Hey, it's Dr. Ragland. I just want to say thank you to the seniors of the Cristo Rey podcast, Ruby, Nehemiah, and Brianna. It's been awesome to work with you all this year, to get to know you, and your hosting and production of the podcast has helped our school to create lasting memories. So thank you for all of your work. Thank you for all of your contributions. You all are going to be on to amazing things. And for the rest of the class of 2021, congratulations. You all have made a tremendous contribution to the school community. You will be missed. Keep your head up. Don't let anybody get you down in the future. And make sure that you stay in touch as much as possible. Thank you again, class of 2021. You are on to amazing things. So be blessed as you move forward into your next steps of life.
hey, have you guys made your college decisions?
Well,
Brianna, Brianna, you're JHU, Johns Hopkins?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought
Nice.
Yeah. I chose
That's
that.
awesome. Congratulations. I may find myself in Baltimore in the next couple of years, so I'll let you know. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, let me know. Just email me.
totally. Keep me posted. Ruby, what about you?
My situation is a little different. I guess I have good news. Well, I applied for DACA in January, and immigration contacted me back. And this month, I'm getting my fingerprints in, so I can get my DACA. Road to citizenship, it's a step. So, but since I'm not getting FAFSA, they don't want to give me FAFSA. I'm gonna take a STNA program, a state tested nursing assistant, in August. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm going
That's
to
great.
go for that. Yeah. So yes, Mr. Ross. Nursing. Yes. I want to be a midwife. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I was gonna say if you want to be a school nurse, I'm sure you could line that up. Be Nurse Ross's assistant.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I want to either be a doula or a midwife. I'm not sure. Yeah. I am looking into that. Oh, sorry.
Imagine.
Yeah. So if you guys ever have kids, I'll birth your kids.
Nehemiah, what's your plan?
I'm going to Loyola Marymount University in LA.
Awesome. One of the most scenic campuses in America, I'm told.
Yeah, me and Jeremiah plan on meeting up on weekends, even though we're like 2 hours away. It's gonna work somehow.
That's awesome.
I just want to say something really quick before we leave, but I just want to say thank you to Mr. Corrigan, Nurse Ross, and Mr. Dybel, because I know we're about to graduate, and I just wanted to say that you guys really helped a lot. With Mr. Corrigan, you've been on top of us, and you've helped every episode this year and this crazy year. So I really want to say that I really appreciate you. Even though I don't RSVP all the time, we appreciate you.
I never RSVP. I'm so sorry.
And then for Mr. Dybel, I really appreciate, government class really made me see, my potential, and that really helped me out throughout the years. Government and history, Mr. Corrigan's class, those classes really made me feel smart and really brought my confidence up because I never failed. So thank you very much. and then Nurse Ross, you helped us so much last year during that pandemic and helped us giving us advice and stuff. And it really stuck with me. One of the first episodes stuck with me, about how we should navigate it. So I just want to thank all three of you guys. You guys were really awesome. We're going to miss you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Daible, we actually had a question for you. So we understand that now you're back, at school. So how was your transition out of Cristo Rey into going back to college, essentially for grad school? So how has that transition been, and what's a piece of advice that you would give me, Nehemiah, Brianna, and the senior class?
So, I mean, my experience, I'm a little bit of a, I would say globetrotter, but it's mostly been in the United States. So I'm an America trotter, kind of been all over in a variety of different contexts. And, certainly Cristo Rey actually was the place where I spent the most time since I left high school. So you guys got me for the most time. But I've had to kind of do these readjustments at periods, whether it's moving to a new job or like now kind of exploring, continuing my studies, though I'm, teaching here and doing some work, educational work here. I think the biggest thing, and this kind of connects to the advice that I would give you, is that one of the things that my high school really valued when as sort of a philosophy is this phrase. It was a Jesuit high school, and the motto of the Jesuits is men and women for others, right? And it was this idea of you should be willing and persistently committed to thinking about how your life is going to fit into some form of helping other people. And it doesn't have to be, a life of just service in everything you do, but thinking about the well-being of others, and whether it's your family, your friends, your community, right, in your job, whatever it might be.
The counseling department would like to say congratulations, class of 2021.
As the wise J. Cole said,
the bad news is nothing lasts forever. The good news is nothing lasts forever.
We are proud of you.
We will miss you.
But mostly, we are excited for your next adventure.
Now go set the world on fire.
Senior class of 2021, Miss Smith here, academic assistant to Principal Pettit and faculty. I'll be praying for your happiness and success. God bless you all. Lifetime Cristo Rey Columbus High School Cougars. Go Cougars!
We're not just people for others, we're also people of others. And what I mean by that is, I've moved in a lot of different roles in a lot of different places, but I'm continually struck by how much, even though I worked really hard to do everything that I've done, I could never have gotten here without the people who supported me at various times, whether it's you guys being my amazing students and helping me kind of think through these complex issues of history and government and all these things, but also, what I'm studying here was shaped by my time teaching. I'm trying to look at origins of, educational philosophies and where do we get these ideas from in the United States, and, looking centuries ago, how do we deal with the complexities of those systems? And so even in there, my students shaped what I wanted to study. But even more broadly, just my colleagues at various places like Cristo Rey, the amount of support that I got from everybody there, the amount of time and effort that other people have put into me or into my success. It's anyone who tells you they did something all by themselves is telling you a lie, right? That it takes everyone together and sharing and working and collaborating side by side to really kind of contribute something meaningful to the world around you, right? That we are people of others as much as we are people for others. So in terms of advice, remember that you do not sort of come along and succeed in your life just because of your own efforts. And so lean on the people around you, lean on your support system. When you get to freshman year and you have that really tough history paper, email Mr. Daible or Mr. Corrigan and ask us for help on it, right? That's what it's all about, finding those systems and networks that are going to support you, because in the end, you're going to pay that back down the road. You're going to be helping others, and you're going to be contributing to the world around you in that way. So keeping that in mind and remembering that down the road of life, though we might not be there in person, we're all walking with you side by side through every one of the struggles that you might face as you come across them.
Mr. Daible, it's very poignant what you're saying about walking side by side. In fact, it reminds me of a song.
Oh no.
We ain't got a barrel of
money.
Did Mr. Corgan just say ink?
Maybe we're ragged and funny,
Okay, Mr. Dybel.
but we'll travel along,
What is happening?
singing a song.
This is not it.
Side by
I
side.
was afraid they were going to do something like this.
Where does the music come from?
Don't know what's coming tomorrow.
Maybe it's trouble and sorrow, but we'll travel alone, sharing our load, side by side. Want to sing with us, Nurse Ross?
Through all kinds of weather.
Not just the weather, Mr. Dybel. I mean, seriously, what if the sky should fall?
Simple, just as long as we're together. It doesn't matter.
You're a little flat there.
Oh, you were too short. When they've all had their quarrels and parted, we'll be the same as we started, just traveling along, singing a song, side by side.
Much better.
You keep working on it. We ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny, but we'll travel along, singing a song, side by side.
Counter melody.
Show off. Don't know what's coming tomorrow. Maybe it's trouble and sorrow.
Like John Jay and Hamilton.
And James Madison. We're side by side.
Come on, Nurse Ross, you can do it.
Through all kinds of weather.
Through all kinds of weather.
What if the sky should fall?
Sky should fall.
Just as long
Just
as
as
we're
long as
together.
we're together.
It doesn't matter at all.
all.
So it's time to say sayonara.
Ruby, Nehemiah, and Brianna. Although we must part, they'll stay in our hearts. Side by side.
Some advice, just be nice.
Side by side.
Don't stop believing.
Side by side.
Y buena suerte.
Side by side.
I really mean it now.
We'll travel along. Everybody singing a song.
Big finish.
Side by
Dismissed.